Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are and when you're watching this. Frankie, how is oneself?
Yeah, very, very good, mate. Very good.
I thought we could have a little chat today about all the little topics, those topics that aren't big enough to create a video about, but they're still quite important and we enjoy chatting about them. So I thought we could start with some of those. But first, let's do the latest transfer rumour because I want to get your thoughts on that one. Duran of Aston Villa. What's your vibe on him?
Yeah, I'd said before that I didn't think a striker would be our priority. So the fact that we're looking at a striker that costs a sensible amount, bit of a investment, someone who's young and up and coming and can sort of come in. But I guess the interesting part of it is from the noise that you're hearing coming from his side is that his main motivation for wanting to move is wanting first team football. So the fact that he wants first team football suggests that maybe I felt we'd kick off this season with Antonio as our main striker, and that's how we would go. And I felt like there were other priorities, and with the way that we know that Lopetegui may have looked at Antonio in the past and maybe wanted to sign him. I just thought that would do him. He would see that as one more season of Antonio is fine. In fact, we're not seeming to take that stance, and we are trying to make a significant investment on the strikers. Really interesting, and it's even more interesting that the man wants first team football. And I think if he does sign for us, it would be on the proviso that he would say, "Well, look, if I'm signing for you, I certainly want my opportunities to be your main man." And if that's the case, then Antonio isn't the main plan for next season, and Lopetegui is looking to bring in someone else who can freshen things up front. So I'm quite excited about it, to be honest. A little bit unproven still, and not played much football, even in the Copa America. He's not getting a look in, but young, energetic, new striker. I'm all for it, mate.
Yeah, I'd imagine Sullivan will be looking for assurances as well. Doubt he's going to sign a cheque for 35 million without being told that this is the main guy at West Ham next season. And you know what? Understandably so. If I was the guy signing checks and we were signing someone for 35 million, I'd want reassurance that he is the main striker next season because I think it's fair to assume we've just spent 20, 25 million on somebody who won't be in the first team in Guilherme. You don't want to be spending too much of your budget on upcoming players. You're going to want to see some of that investment going straight into starting 11. I'm excited by it. I'm impressed that we're spending such big money on a striker as well. And I do wonder maybe there's a Steidten influence there where Lopetegui perhaps is happy with Mikel Antonio, but maybe the guy in charge of the squad, if you like, is saying, well, hang on a minute, they're both the wrong side of 30. Both contracts are coming to an end next summer. We need to start to look at that area of the pitch this summer so that next summer, if Antonio and Ings go, it's not the end of the world. We'll free up a load of wages and we could go get someone else in. So I do wonder maybe there's a bit of a Tim influence in the decision to go for Duran here.
Yeah, and the only thing that makes me a little bit nervous is obviously we've had a couple of stories coming out recently about Ings and the potential to go back to Southampton, that we would foot some of his wages for him to go back there. I mean, if that was the case, then we're bringing in this new striker. That's great. I'm just really nervous that if Ings digs in his heels and says I'm not going, then that would mean the board would turn around and say, well, we can't go and get Duran because we're not going to have the finances. So that's a little bit worrying for me, I think.
I wonder if Ings' stance might change if we spend 35 million on a striker. At the minute, I can understand why he said, no, I'm going to stick around actually because I didn't get a fair crack in his opinion. I didn't get a fair crack under Moyes. There's a new gaffer here. I'm going to show him what I can do in pre-season, and I'm going to get a chance at West Ham next season. But if between now and pre-season we go sign a £35 million striker, you might think, oh, okay, my opportunities might be somewhat more limited than what I initially thought they would be. So the landscape changes, doesn't it? As soon as we sign Duran, if we sign Duran, Ings' squad status alters literally overnight. So I do wonder if maybe he'll think, okay, now I'm going to go elsewhere because I want my football.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's obviously not money. If we're going to subsidise the wages for him to go back to Southampton, that suggests it's not a money-oriented thing. It's actually I want to play football. So he obviously believes in himself, and I think we saw it when he come off the bench for the few occasions that he did last season. Even when he was asked to play out of position, he still was give everything that I think he had. So he obviously still wants to play. He's not like he's on the way out in that mindset, and he's just thinking, take a few quid and I'll be retired in 18 months or whatever. He obviously still believes he's got something to offer. So but I wish he didn't because I'd like to see him off and I'd like to see us get this new guy in. So I don't know if we're going to subsidise the wages. I guess the money thing doesn't come into it and whatever. But I know what we're like. We don't like to spend money unless it's absolutely necessary. And I just feel with Ings hanging around, it might be the fact that the ball turn around and say, you've got enough. You don't need this other guy.
Does his Duran's attitude concern you a little bit? He's sort of, I think a lot of Villa fans are happy to see him go because of it. And he's burnt a lot of bridges by essentially liking every Chelsea social media post over the last 6 months, trying to get his move to Stamford Bridge. And, he's smashed up a couple of gaffes. He lives in the same apartment block as Unai Emery. And I think he smashed up a couple of flats the club own and stuff like that. So I think there's been a bit of an issue in regards to behaviour. Are you thinking that that's just due to the fact he's 20 years old and somebody can sort that out?
Well, he sounds like the new Diafra Sakho, and if he plays like him, then I won't have a problem with it. But I guess it's what worries me more, and don't get me wrong, under Moyes, I think we was very, very cautious with squad balance, not having any of those bad apples. I think that was kind of Moyes' thinking a lot of the time. It was, actually, I don't want to sign anyone in case it unsettles the balance of the squad. I think every now and then you do need someone with a little bit of character and someone who's a bit wild and a bit out there. With all the best players that we've had over the years, or many of them have had that bit about them, whether it be Di Canio and his erratic nature, whether it be Sakho, Arnautovic, whoever it may be, if you get one of those strikers who have got that bit of character around them, as long as Lopetegui can manage it, that's fine. What worries me is that it's being said that they're happy to let him go as long as there's this buyout clause or sell-on fee, however you want to call it. So if you've got the sell-on fee in there, if he comes in, is a bit wild, say he doesn't hit the ground running, and say Lopetegui does revert. Say it's Tim Steidten who wants this man and says, look, actually, I think with your squad, with the ageing strikers, this makes sense. Right, that's great. He comes in, Lopetegui feels like, actually, no, you're not doing it for me, mate. Antonio, you're back in. Antonio comes back in. All of a sudden, he's out of favour. If he then starts kicking off, starts throwing his toys out of his pram, and we've got to then move him on like we always do with our strikers for half of what we paid for him, and we go and sell him for 15 million, plus we've got to give Aston Villa a chunk of money out of it, we've gone and done our brains on a striker like we always do. So it would be very typical West Ham, and it's the sort of thing that we always get ourselves wrapped up and involved in. But I guess every now and then you've got to take these risks. If you don't sign these characters in football, then you don't know.
I think it depends on the deal in terms of the detail of the deal, which is, it's 35 million, but I doubt it's going to be 35 million guaranteed cash. I'd imagine there'd be a lot of clauses in there, which may be his personal success. So it might be international appearances for West Ham, goals for West Ham. Then there'll be the club success, so qualifying for European football and stuff. But the first part of it, so in regards to what Duran does at West Ham, activating clauses, if he's no longer in the team, he's then hopefully no longer triggering clauses, which means the outlay from West Ham is a little bit lower as well. And hopefully Steidten can negotiate it so it's a percentage of a profit rather than a sell on. So I get why Villa want it in there. Like you said, there's that part of it in case he kicks off and moves again. But going by his 18 months at Aston Villa, I can understand why they're thinking this, because a lot of Villa fans are saying this kid could be a superstar. If he can sort his head out, he could go on and become unbelievable. So with that belief, it's like this guy could, if he has one good season at West Ham, he turns into a £70 million striker in 12 months' time. And I think Villa are trying to protect themselves just in case he does go on and unlock that potential and become an £80 million player. And we sell him for 80 million. They're then getting their Brucey bonus off the back of it to some extent. So Duran, a yes for you, though.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I want to roll the dice with it. Like I say, we've had these sort of erratic characters as strikers before, and some of them have worked out, some of them haven't. But I think this is one of the dice that I'd be prepared to roll. I'd give it a go. It's the only real striker that I think we've been obviously linked with. Like you say, he has got the potential to be a serious player. He's one of them players that in 3 or 4 years could be completely unobtainable for West Ham. He
Yeah,
could be on that level that it's just we'd never get a player like that. So, we've had a few of them recently, and they've worked out. Kudus, I think, is another one of them. I think we signed him bang at the right time, and in a few years' time, it would have been a player that we'd never have been able to attract to West Ham. So, I think right age, already been around the Premier League. Yeah, okay, he's a little bit volatile, but I think some of the best strikers have that about them. I've never trusted us to manage those sorts of situations before. I don't think we've been very good at the man management. I don't think we've been very good at keeping those sorts of players under control. I don't know why I think Lopetegui has this put his arm around people a little bit more. We've seen it in the video with George Urphy. I think we've seen it with on the training ground images that we're seeing come out from the media team at the moment. I loved the fact that he turned around and said, and whether you believe the reports or not, but he's going to make everybody travel on a coach again all together. We're not allowed any, people travelling on their own in their own vehicles. He's really trying to get this squad harmony thing and camaraderie together. And if you can get a player like that in and you can really make him feel part of it and make him feel special, he could be the caveat to really projecting West Ham to the next level. So I'm all for it. I want to see it. 35 million as well, mate. I know it sounds like a big chunk of because it's our budget and we don't think we've got too much to spend. It sounds a lot, but for a striker, already scored goals in the Premier League, I don't think it sounds a crazy amount of money either, to be honest.
yeah. I think if he didn't have his sort of bad boy attitude, I don't think we'd get him. I think Villa would keep him. Villa would say, no, this guy's going to go on. They only want him off ski because he doesn't want to play second fiddle to Ollie Watkins. So if he didn't have that sort of concern, I think he'd already be unobtainable, as you put it, which I agree with you. In a couple of years' time, you look at him. But like Jared Bowen is possibly a good example as well, where we got him, and I think he could. I think he would have went to most Premier League clubs. But if you look at Jared Bowen today, there's only two or three that can afford him, and
Yeah.
there's possibly only two or three that can get him. So like he's been linked to Newcastle, and as West Ham fans, I think generally we're pretty unconcerned by that rumor because we'll go, no chance, it's not happening. You can't afford him, and he won't want to go to you. There's Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal are possibly the only three clubs I'd be worried about if they came in for Bowen. Even Arsenal, to some extent, not so much because of Saka, but just in terms of a club profile and where they're heading to, that's it. Because we got Bowen at the right time, we've kept him. If he joined Crystal Palace instead, and he was the Bowen today at Crystal Palace, I'd be thinking, I'm not sure we get him actually, because he would be 100 million. I think we've lost it. So I completely agree with you in that regards. One thing I want to talk about is sort of off the pitch. Obviously, this campaign regarding the season ticket changes from West Ham. It's been a couple of weeks since we've discussed it on a video. A little bit has changed since then. We've reached 10,000 signatures on the petition now, so that's gotten over the 5-figure mark. And Karren Brady had a lot to say this week. Have you seen her?
I haven't, no.
Statement. I got someone sent it to me in screenshots, and it was 8 screenshots long. So my immediate response was, "There's no way I'm reading that. I'm not reading it. It's far too much for me." So they sent me the bit that was like, "Well, this will be the bit that you're going to like. I know you'll like this one bit." And she refers to affordable football, about how some of the cheapest season tickets in the Premier League, they're committed to affordable family football, and there's been a small price increase in order to help investment into the transfer kitty, essentially.
Crazy. Just that's the sort of thing that really does wind you up. And she's not silly. She's a very intelligent woman who knows exactly what she's
Just
doing.
to cut it in, I was trying to buy myself time there and ran out, but I've got it now. I've got the screenshot. It says, this is from Karren Brady. It says, the next topic you have asked us on is ticketing. I want to reiterate that our commitment to affordable family football remains a priority. Our small price uplift this season meant we can continue to invest in our playing squad as we strive for success and ensure that we still have some of the cheapest season tickets in the Premier League. And it goes on to talk about working with West Ham fans. Says we will continue to work with our fans next season to try and find the right balance between growing responsibly and sustainably and ensuring all our supporters have the opportunity to come and watch the team they love. I'm not going to lie, Frankie, you wound me right up reading it.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, she knows exactly what's going on at the moment. She knows how the fans feel. She knows about the petition. All of those things she knows. So to come out and say that, you can only say is provoking West Ham fans. That is literally a dig. It's literally said with the sole purpose of fueling West Ham fans' anger. Because she's not silly. She knows the situation. She knows what's going on. She knows the reaction that we've had to the situation. The problem is it's a very political answer. Part of it is very true. You could take that statement and say, actually, everything she said is factual, i.e., there has been no actual price increase as such. There hasn't been a rise in the standard tickets as a ticket by ticket basis. But what she's not adding into that is the fact that concessions have been taken away. So that's the problem. It isn't that my season ticket is any more this season than it was last season. It isn't. It's the same price.
Is it? Mine went up 6 to 8% or something. I think the average price went up 8% the season.
I'm in the gods, aren't I? I'm where nobody wants to go. So we're lucky up there. With nothing really changes for us.
Then, cheapest season tickets in Premier League. She's talking about you, Frankie.
She is talking about me, and I'm very privileged that I've been able to get one of those. It works out at whatever it is, £15 a game for me to watch Premier League football. It's incredible, and nobody's saying that those little bits that they did, but it comes at a massive price. You're detached from the game. You're so far away. Getting up there is a chore. Going down to go to the toilet is a chore. It is a poor experience of football up there. It might be cheap, but your actual pound for pound experience of the actual match and the environment that you get isn't very good. So we're paying for what you get, really. And it's actually really quite interesting. You can go from where those tickets are, the way that the stadium's built. If you go 15 rows further forward, it's a totally different experience. Just that little change, which is like literally a throwaway from where you sit, each row makes a massive difference. And you go 10 or 15 rows further forward, you actually feel so much more connected to the game. So those people up there and where we are, yeah, okay, it's cheap, but it's not great. But like I say, what she said is factual. There's nothing in there that she said that's a lie. It's true. There is some of the cheapest season tickets in the Premier League. There is all of this situation. But what is the lie is the commitment to family football, because by removing concessions is completely not, it's alienating families, if anything. It's actually pushing children away. I think half of the problem is that they know that with finance options that they offer and the type of fanatical fans that we are, we just pay it. Do you think I'm going to deprive my boy of going to West Ham United? Absolutely not. It wouldn't matter whether his ticket was £99, £500, £1,000, or £5,000. I would find the £5,000 to take him to football. That's it, because it's what we do. It's what we love. It's actually what I did with my dad. It's what I do with him. It is life to us. It isn't just the football game. It's what we do. It's our time together. It's what we love doing. So my boy even done in the newspaper this week, in our local newspaper, the kids were asked to do pictures to submit to the newspaper. He's literally got a picture of me and him with I love going football with daddy as the picture. What, am I going to go and turn around and tear that up for the sake of £1,000? No, I'm not. I'm going to pay the £1,000 and he's going to be coming football. So, you know, but that's what they play on. They know that it's more to West Ham fans than just, you know, and that's why we do need to do something about it. And it doesn't matter whether it's Hammers United that are driving it. It doesn't matter whether it's, we don't like being told what to do. I know we don't. We're West Ham. We've never been like being told what to do. So when somebody turns around and goes on a video and goes on a rant and, I'm disappointed West Ham fans, rah, 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 oh, it's terrible, what happened to our fan base? That's all rubbish. I don't care about all of that. And in fact, if you take that stance, West Ham fans just going to stick two fingers up to it and go away, I'm not interested. But the reality is they're using and abusing our fan base once more. They've done it already time and time and time again. And we can't keep letting them get away with it. And this is the point in time when it starts affecting the kids. You have to draw a line under it and say, this is the future of West Ham United. This is everything to the children that go to football. To be honest, it's got to stop. And also, I always take kids because that's the immediate thing that I see with my boy. But my dad's getting to the stage now where he's going to be retired. Obviously, he's already retired for whatever reason. And, you know, getting up to those seats, he's even said to me, can we move this year? Because it's going to be too much. It's going to be too difficult. He will start turning away from football because he cannot get up that staircase. It is too much. And for people who have followed West Ham, week in, week out, I remember, you know, he used to take me, every penny that he used to earn went into me and him going West Ham up and down the country. I would turn up at his house on a Friday night. I'd go to sleep. He'd come into the bedroom in the morning, 5 o'clock, turn the light on and go, come on, we're off. And we'd be up to Manchester, up to Newcastle, up to Sunderland, wherever it was, we'd be there. And that commitment that has kind of going completely unrewarded and underappreciated at the moment by the club is bang out of order. Absolutely bang out of order. And those people deserve to be able, in fact, they deserve everything because they are the reason why we are where we are, and they've made those commitments and brought the next generations through. So we have got to do something, and we all need to stick together.
For those that are unaware of what we're talking about, we just wrongly assume that you all know. Essentially, to keep it very short and sweet, next season, if you want a season ticket at West Ham next season, you're a new season ticket holder, there's no discounts for kids or the elderly section, 6 to 6 years and over. There's no discounts in the majority of the stadium. So bands 1 to 4 used to have a form of discount for the kids and the OAPs. They've removed that for new season ticket holders. It's only available in bands 5 and 6, which, as Frankie said, is right at the upper tiers behind the goals. So it's high up, but also, as seen when the season tickets came out and new people could go get new season tickets, I think they quickly discovered there's no two seats next to each other. So if you want to take your kid, you can't go sit in band 6 anyway because there's no two seats available for an adult in their child. There isn't any. They're all single seats. So they've even managed to force people up into a certain section. And when you get to that section, actually there's no availability. So they might as well just say there's no concessions available whatsoever if you're a new season ticket holder, because they've made it so that you can't really obtain one. And I think if you're going to do that, I think own it. Just own it. And don't put in your statement, which she wrote, don't put affordable family football, because fine, you're not doing that. You're providing it for the existing season ticket holders that's renewing. But for new season ticket holders, you ain't providing that. So you're no longer committed. You're half-heartedly applying it. And I just think sometimes I just wish either Sullivan or Brady would just literally put themselves in the shoes of a supporter, go out to Essex, get dropped off in the morning, far away in Essex somewhere, and just, I know they probably don't have the same concept of money as the rest of us, but just say to them, how much do you think you require for a day out for 2 parents and 2 kids? What do you reckon a family would require? And hopefully they'll say £100, so brilliant, right? Let's get you 4 tickets to West Ham. There's your change, which isn't very much. Now get on the train and go experience it like the rest of it. Take those trains in with the delays, with the cancellations. Get to Westfields where it's mobbed because of all the shoppers. Do that long walk to the stadium in the piss and rain when you're not allowed to go in August. You've got to go in December. I've changed the rules. You've got to go in December as well. Then you've got to stand in the stops in the searchy bit in the wind and rain. Then go into the stadium. Your kids now want food. Well, good luck, because it's 10 quid for a packet of crisps. And then go take them somewhere, wherever you're sitting in the ground. Then go in the stop and search signs on the way home, the stop-go signs all the way home, and see how much money you've got at the end of it for your day out. And then you might actually think, you know what, this really isn't, it's not that enjoyable, and it certainly ain't affordable. Until they do that, I don't think they'll really grasp how difficult it is, because I never grasped how difficult it was until I grew up as a kid, because I lived in Aberdeen, my dad would take me and my brother to West Ham 3 times a season each. Sometimes we'd both went, but usually it was just one of us and my dad. One home game, one away game, plus one other. It alternated. And we used to get the mega bus, the overnight bus, or if it was a Northern England game, he would just drive. But we'd sometimes get the bus. So finish school on the Friday, back home, get changed quick. We're going straight into Aberdeen, which is 20 mile away. Go into Aberdeen, get the overnight bus down. 7 o'clock, you'd leave Aberdeen, get into London at 7 a.m., go watch the football, and then you're back on the bus at 10 p.m. at night to go back up to Aberdeen. You get home at 10 a.m. on Sunday. And I look, and sometimes as a kid, I didn't really want to do it. I was like, I don't have to. I've been invited to my friend's birthday party this weekend. I mean, I can't go. But I look back now, and bloody hell, the commitment that my dad made to take us to football every single season, and it was just something that happened without fail. And he was willing to take us out of school and get a bollocking from the teacher and stuff. I was like, hey, you can't take kids. He's basically like, fuck off. I'm taking them. This is their education. They're coming down to West Ham with me, and that was that. And I just think what they're doing now is that father out there today won't be able to do what my dad did because he won't be able to afford it. That time he was probably able to take me for next to nothing. The kid on this bus ticket and then his ticket into West Ham was probably not very much. So he was able to do it. He was able to justify it, taking out the money, the family kitty every few times a season. Now we're off down to West Ham. That father won't be able to do that anymore. And it's such a shame because what they're doing with this concessions are they're cutting the throat of the elderly and they're cutting the knees of the kids. And this new kit launches they've been doing this last couple of weeks, I've had to tune out of them, Frankie, because they're going on about heritage and culture. And I just think, fuck off. You've taken the heritage and the culture and you've pissed all over it. And what you're doing literally this summer with all this concession tickets is you're sticking two fingers up to everything, but you're bleating on about it to promote your new shiny kit. It's just, I don't know, Frankie. It just tipped me over. That statement from her tipped me over the edge this week when I read the one screenshot. But that was enough. I'm not going to dare read the rest of it. But I read that one bit. I just thought, nah, you're just rubbing salt in the wound here. Like you said, she's smart. She's not stupid. She's a very smart woman. She knows exactly what she's saying and she knows exactly what she's doing. I can't. It's not on. It's just too far now. It's just gone too far. Some things in life are just nasty, and that's just nasty.
Yeah, no, it is completely. Not only that, but with the kit situation, and look, don't get me wrong, I love the new home kit. I think it's the best one we've had for a while.
Yeah,
I think it
me
looks
too.
lovely. I think very good. The way that they've done the sizes for the new kit, the fact that they've got under 18s now, from small to 4XL, and they've also got junior, means that many kids who would have had the junior price now only pay £10 less than the full adult price. So again, it was just another way to exploit young fans of West Ham United. It's every turn, every corner. It's that £10 to them they think is insignificant. Well, they don't, because if it's insignificant, they wouldn't do it. They've done it for a reason. It's because all those £10 add up and whatever. That can
Yeah,
be the only
they think it's
commercial reason.
insignificant to us. They think, oh, they
Yes.
can all afford an extra tenner. What's the problem?
Yeah. And actually, in the grand scheme of things, when you're paying £1,000 more for a season ticket, now you're paying £20-30 more for each kit that you want to buy them. The season's cost for the average everyday fan for this season and for a child to go and follow West Ham has significantly gone up, significantly, and it's absolutely wrong. They're taking massive advantage, and you know, we are East End of London, working class. You know, that's what West Ham United are. We're a part that was in the blitz of the war, and we all stood together, and our home stadium was bombed in the war. We are very much, there's a lot to be said for United within our name, and we've always been West Ham United. Of late and recent years, we haven't seen that quite as much. We've actually been very much divided, and we should be going into this new season with a fresh start, looking at it that all the fans are together, and they've done their very, very best to kick it off completely on a negative way again, and it's wrong. It ain't on. And as much as every part of me, and I mean this, wants to go into this new season so positive. I said to you, we've got the Betway Cup back. We're going to get over there. New manager, new players. Let's show them what West Ham are all about. Let's all get together again and start standing shoulder to shoulder, side by side, and supporting West Ham and having fun and enjoying it again. And then this happens. And then it puts that dampener on it, and it shouldn't be that way. And I do, as much as I do want to go in to this new season with all the positivity in the world, there has to be a stand made somewhere, and this isn't right. It is wrong, and it doesn't matter how we sort of show our support for those children and for the seniors of West Ham United, but we have to show it. And it doesn't matter whether you go and sign the petition, it doesn't matter whether you boycott the Betway Cup. There are many things that are happening, there are many things that are going on to show solidarity and strength and try and put pressure on the club. Look, Wolves managed it. Wolves board have backtracked. If Wolves can do it, we can do it. We've got a much louder voice. We've got a much bigger football club, a much bigger fan base. And if we all stand together and we put the pressure on, in fact, if you look back, every time we have put the pressure on the board, they've always crumbled. Every time. But we let them off the hook too often. And we can't let them off the hook with this one. We have got to apply some pressure, and we have got to make them backtrack, and we have got to make them change their mind and realise that what they're doing is completely wrong.
Moving on then, I know I'm moving on abruptly, but I think we've had our say on that one. The new season is sort of underway a little bit, Frankie. It feels, I know the Euros aren't quite finished, but the Champions League qualifiers are now up and running. Our Romanian friends, Bucharest, are involved in them, and there's a couple of Irish teams involved in the qualifiers. So the European football qualifiers are underway. So the domestic season is upon us. The team are out in Austria at the minute. We've got the first friendly on Monday. Are you still going on Saturday to the under-21s?
Absolutely. So looking forward to the under-21s. That is the start of every season for me now. It marks that West Ham's back, get to see all the youngsters, get to get up close and personal and see them play football. So I'm massively, massively looking forward to that. And I saw Charlton had Dartford last weekend. Connor Coventry played there, so went up to see that. So, yeah, football's...
I know you're following. For those that don't know, Frankie's following Connor Coventry at Charlton.
Yeah, sponsored him for last season, supported him, and was his sponsor for his home kit for last season. And no, we enjoy. You know, when you go to those youth games, you become quite. Especially when you've got a boy who idolises them. And like I say, it's quite hard to get up close and personal to the main team now. It's not like the old days where you can get conversations with them and get to see them very much. So the fact that you can go to the youth games and actually get a bit closer, and they'll come over and have a chat with the kids, sign things and so on, that they get very fond of the younger players. And especially after the, obviously, cup final at Arsenal, that was just a amazing thing for him to be involved in, going there and spanking them 5-1, which was an amazing day out. So yeah, it's really nice. It gets you involved, and then obviously Connor then went off, but Charlton's still local to us. I lived 5 minutes away from the ground when I was younger, and when West Ham's had European football, because we had no Saturday football, and my boy loves to go and watch football, we went to many Charlton games last year. So it was good to do that. As you said about the European games, and I saw them last night, and I said that I was quite happy to give European football a miss this year, just to get Saturday 3:00 football back again. It did bug me a little bit. It bugged me, Gio. It did. I saw the Euro, I saw the Europa League, and I saw the Conference League, and I see the matches, and I see the qualifiers, and that was the start to looking forward to that in previous seasons, in recent times. So yeah, it hurt a little bit. It did hurt a little bit. I'm going to miss it, I think.
Yeah. I'll miss it. I'm okay with it as a one-off season. I think it'll help. It has to help Lopetegui get settled in, and you have a lot of time with the players on the training ground between matches. And I think that's something that personally I feel Moyes didn't get much credit for, because he only had one full season without European football, because obviously he came in, he kept us up. The following season we finished sixth. So then from then on, a lot of the weeks were Sunday, Thursday, Sunday, Thursday, Sunday, Thursday, and you don't really get much time on the training ground, especially between the European game and then the Premier League game on the Sunday. You're pretty much getting back into the country early hours Friday. You can't really do a full training session Friday. You can't do one Saturday either. So I think it's a very difficult thing to manage. And I think it's a bit easier when you're a bit more established and you've got the setup and stuff. But effectively, I always felt that we were a club, not prepared for European football, playing European football. I don't think the coaching team was ever big enough for anything like that. And it always felt like we struggled a little bit with the logistics of playing European football. So I think this season will provide Lopetegui with a bit of an advantage in that regard. But we have to take advantage of that, and that's got to be, be ambitious in the league and qualify for European football for the following season, especially if we are going to start signing a £40 million centre back, a £35 million striker. That has to lead to results. And there was sometimes last season, especially, where I felt that maybe had we not had European football, we might have got a few more points in the Premier League and then qualify for European football again. So that excuse isn't there this time round. And, Lopetegui's came in early doors before pre-season. So in terms of preparation for this season, it feels very good. It feels good. Kelman made early signing as well as obviously Guilherme and Foderingham, and hopefully we can get the next one in pretty quickly. And if we can have 4 or 5 signings in before the first friendly on home soil, I think that's quite an achievement actually, and puts you in really good stead for the season kicking off. So yeah, I'm starting to get my hopes up a little bit actually. I think a lot of people are for various different reasons. Gonzo's obsessed with bloody YouTube videos at the minute. He's talking about the other day about how Lopetegui's coaches can speak different languages, and that's very beneficial. And I think he's gone a bit too far on that, but he's getting excited and he's getting his hopes up. And I think a lot of people are doing that, and I think that's good. I think it's a really important thing as a football fan to be allowed to get your hopes up. Because if you can't do that, then what have you got? Like, if you can't dream, then you've got nothing. I'll tell you what you don't have: a discount on your season ticket if you're a concession. So I think it's good. I'm liking it. I like happiness. I like seeing people be happy, and I think when people are feeling positive about the new season, I like that. It makes me feel positive, actually. So yeah.
Yeah, very much so. I am looking forward to it. I am positive. I don't know. There's a little niggling feeling that we might have a bit of a cup run. I just got that feeling we might do something. I think with the individual players that we've got, I think over the course of a season, that top 6, top 7's tough. I think it's very difficult with I think a lot of those teams that may have had a few off seasons recently may be very different next season, and I think it might be difficult to break into that top 6, top 7. But I firmly believe that on our day, the signs are looking good. We're bringing in the right players. We said have faith and believe in Steidten, and actually it feels so much better than it has done in previous years. There isn't the same frustrations. It seems like we are making moves. People are actually getting over the line, which makes a big change. That whole we tried thing seems to be a little bit pushed away at the moment, which is good. It seems like the players that we're highlighting and the ones that we want to get, the key ones, I think there are some that we've probably maybe nibbled at and it's kind of faded out quite quickly, but I'm all right with that. As long as the key ones are getting done, that's the main thing, and it seems like that's happening.
Or it fades quickly. That's my thing. Be ruthless a little bit. Go in, and if you can't get it done, move on to the next one rather than just keep on doing
what we've done in the past.
Can we have him? Can we have it? Or we're going to wait and see if we can get him eventually. No, he doesn't want to come. Move on. It's a little bit Harry Maguire-esque that it felt like we kept going after him, although he didn't want to come, and we just kept on trying to persuade him. He still didn't want to come, and it felt like you're possibly missing out on other targets here while you're doing this. And whereas this summer with Fabrizio Bruno up to his wage demands, and we went, no, we're not having this. Do one. We're going to move on to someone else. And I quite like that ruthlessness in regards to acquiring players, actually.
Definitely. And it seems like we have got that approach now. We're not hanging around. He went out to Brazil. We tried our best. There was probably a couple more that we were quite keen on. And once it was no good, that was it. See you later. We're going on to other things. So I totally agree. And it's very refreshing how we're handling this transfer window. I did feel like the Euros and the Copa America would have given the excuse is normally necessary to drag your heels in the market and not do much business early, but we're doing all right. It's going well, you know. Like you say, few more over the line, and we should be in very good shape to when that first game of the season comes round.
Well, Frankie, thank you once again. A pleasure as always.
No, enjoy it, mate. Enjoy these. They're get everything off your chest, and it makes you feel a lot better, and it actually builds excitement, mate, because the stresses of everyday life can overtake sometimes, and you come on here and talk football, and it makes me itch for it to come round again. So I'm massively looking forward to it. So
Well,
hopefully do some more. And England tonight. Not that
hey,
you're
no,
bothered, but England tonight.
Let's stop it there. Thank you. That was a good place to end the podcast. Well, Frankie's enjoyed it for 40 minutes. Hopefully you guys have as well. And if you have done, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up. Helps out the channel. Subscribe if you're new to Hammers Chat. And myself and Frankie. Catch you in a bit.